Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime co-hosts Ms. Purrington and Mookie. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. You can keep up with us on Twitter and Instagram at Comedy Wham or on our Comedy Wham Facebook page. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy. We've got a festivals page and an FPIA page with all the contest results. And of course, we're best known for our events page for live shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW. If you're a comic in those cities and want your show featured on the calendar, go to the events page and click Submit a Show to complete the short survey. Tag us on your Instagram stories and posts, and we'll share your show promo. Looking for ways to support all these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Search for Comedy Wham on Patreon and check out our subscriber perks. Now let's get back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Whew. That is really hard to do these days. We'll talk more about that probably. Okay, today we are talking to somebody who originally reached out to me probably about a year and a half ago when we were still doing the Comedy Wham Showcase. And she had, I think, less than a year of experience, or about a year of experience, and she was always on call if I needed somebody to fill in. And it was really, really awesome to watch her progress over the course of that year. She's the co-host of the short-lived, but maybe it'll come back, Truth or Dare show with Holly Hart. She was an FPIA semifinalist this year, and from my by far away observations, she's one of the hardest working young comics, and I have been hanging on to this invitation for a while because I have wanted her to be our kickoff episode for 2023. Happy New Year to everyone. And now Comedy Wham presents our guest, Kat Swantner.
Hi, Valerie.
Hi.
Thank you. That was such a nice intro.
You're welcome.
Man, I didn't even know I did all that stuff.
You did. I like to sweeten up, my guests, make sure they feel happy and proud of what they've accomplished.
Sure. Yeah. It's hard to, look at it holistically when you're down in the grind every day. So.
Yeah. Just for reference, how long have you been doing comedy now?
It's only been about close to 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not amazing. People put in effort and they get rewards from it, and that's how that usually works.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have, a ways to go, but there's definitely been some progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start off with our official kickoff question, which is one word to describe your past.
Storied.
Oh, that's fancy.
It's kind of a there's a mix of things that kind of made me who I am today.
Yeah. Well, I did my homework because I
hope
have
not too much.
Well, not too much, but enough. Okay, I listened to one podcast. I have only known you as the comic Kat Swantner. And I was listening to High Noon, and I listened to your episode, so I'm like, oh, she's got like this whole background, and we have some things in common. I'm a UT alumni as well.
Nice.
Cool. But of course, I don't know if you can tell me to edit this, but I was never a debutante.
Yeah.
And I was never in a sorority to leave a sorority. So, I was not that kind of person in college.
Yeah, well, I will tell you weren't missing out. I mean, I did it for less than a semester. My mom really wanted me to do it, and I was like, I guess I'll do it. Like, you're helping me with school. Yeah. And I kind of just quit going, so they kicked me out. So and I, it's just too much. It's just too much for me. Too much, weird female energy and
Yeah.
and kind of that
Yeah.
ritzy
Yeah.
sort of
Well, when I was in
atmosphere.
college, I was, one of the kids carrying around their lunch sack with a peanut butter sandwich and an apple.
Aw.
And I was one of the goth kids. That was
Oh, hell yeah.
that was my life, when I was social. So
Yeah.
I was not a big fan of sororities.
Oh, of
or
course
that-
not. I mean,
that whole
that's
life.
yeah, that's truly who I was. Like it was like, I was wearing Doc Martens and my bandanas
yeah.
and my band t-shirts. So it's like, hey, I don't really
Yeah.
fit in with
Yeah.
whatever this is,
Yeah. Well, and I'm a parent, and I feel like ask me in 5 or 6 years, but I feel like I do a good job of not imposing my will upon my child.
Sure.
Like I can understand your mom's motivation for her, because I see all the whole networking angle and the future connections thing, but that feels very highbrow.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I could tell my kid, like I can't even get him to do the honor society. So it's like I'm never going to try to push him into a fraternity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, there's also the thing of like, I was kind of fucking up at the time. So maybe it was also, I was like, well, I want to make my mom proud, and I know she wanted me to do this. And, I think we had our issues for sure. I think she just really wanted to set me up for success.
Yeah.
But I think, over the years, she's kind of realized I'm kind of the person that I need to make the mistake in order
Yeah.
to learn from it and in order to learn the lesson. Because
Yeah.
I don't like listening to people.
Yeah.
And that was kind of where we always butt heads was like,
Yeah.
you're controlling me and I don't like this. And I've been a little rebel since I was like
Yeah.
5. So just, get used to it.
Yeah.
And I think we're there,
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've kind of danced around your youth and your childhood. Not that you're old by any stretch, but I do like to have kind of a timeline conversation. So, going back to your childhood, did comedy play a role at all in your childhood?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, I've always been kind of a weird, off the beaten path person. It's kind of this weird thing of like doing these things that were very much on the path of, debutante and being in a sorority or whatever, going
Yeah.
to college. I did all those things, but there was always this part of me that wanted to act out and kind of, so I was kind of a class clown. Like I was always, trying to make people laugh, and I was never, I was kind of on the periphery of being popular. So it was like, I was not a very cute kid. So it was like, I knew I wasn't getting, I wasn't going to make friends that way. And, so yeah, I mean, I would always try and make people laugh and try and, cut the tension sometimes. And I also I don't know, just never took anything that seriously. And I still kind of don't,
But you got into UT, which is not an easy school to get into.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I studied really hard and, I was like a Christian until I was like 17. And then,
So you really were on kind of a straight and narrow,
oh yeah.
traditional Americana kind of path.
And then it went real sideways. Then it went real sideways for a while. Yeah, no, I was like a devout. I was more Christian than my parents. I'd be like, "You guys aren't good enough Christians.
Oh my gosh, I can't
You're
even
so
imagine.
judgmental," and me judging them, whatever. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, I started. I don't even remember the exact moment, but it was kind of this gradual thing of like learning a lot about science. I started kind of drinking and smoking weed, and then I was like, fuck all this stuff I've been doing. I don't,
Yeah.
believe in it anymore. And yeah, had a rough, I got into UT, and then it was, I was on scholastic probation at one point. So
Oop.
yeah, it was definitely one of those cases of like being very sheltered and then leaving
big
home.
party school.
Yeah, big
and-
party school.
And the whole sorority concept, that whole
Yeah.
is all, I mean, from outside looking in, it's all about partying and socializing and yeah.
Well, I honestly didn't even have any friends in college. Like, I would just party with the people I waited tables with.
Oh.
So it wasn't even like really a college thing. Like,
Yeah.
it was in college, but it was all these like older, like, servers I worked with and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I would hang out with all these old men at this bar, which, you know, is fun to look back on,
Yeah.
but it was a mess, you know. But
Yeah. Okay, I want to go back to something you said. You felt like you were a class clown. Draw a picture for us, or paint a picture for us of us watching Kat being a class clown in her element.
So I think, like, I remember this one instance when I think it's like 8 years old. And, you know, I always craved attention, just always. And we were in the counselor's office, and my mom wouldn't let me watch Austin Powers Goldmember.
Oh, man.
It's too young. 8 is a little
Yeah,
young, you
sure,
know.
right.
But my neighbor, her parents let her watch it. So I went over to her house and we watched it, and I didn't tell my mom. And then I went to school, and we got up to do introductions, like during the counselors. I don't know why we were doing that, but yeah. And I got up and I was like, I'm Foxy Cleopatra, and I'm a whole lot of woman, you know. And I was like 8 years old, and and the counselor was like trying so hard not to laugh, but
I
she was also
bet.
like, you know.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate. Like, you can't be saying that to, you know. And so she told my mom, and I was like, I can't believe you watch Austin Powers. I told you couldn't do that. So, you know, it was stuff like that kind of all the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think also I was very sassy. I kind of had an attitude problem. So
Yeah.
I get in trouble a lot. But
I must just not see you in the wild often enough, because these are all personality traits I wouldn't have ascribed to you. Like when you
Yeah.
first reached out to me to do the showcase, you just were so polite and you were so nice about it. And then every time you came on, it was kind of the same deal. And I knew I could call on you, so you were very reliable. And I didn't get the sassy and I didn't get the rebellious.
well, I mean, I've definitely chilled out as an adult. You know, I think a lot of that, you know, being a kid's hard.
Yeah.
Being told what to do is hard. And now I fucked up enough. Can I curse on this podcast? Okay. I didn't know.
That's my favorite question that I ever get asked. Absolutely. It's a comedy podcast.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think I fucked up so much in my early 20s that it was like, okay, well, there is some value to what my mom tried to teach me and what my teachers tried to teach me. So, you know, I was like, it'll make my life easier if I'm just, you know, kind and polite. Not that I'm not naturally that way, but I don't know. I think I struggle with a kid mostly just wanting attention.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't lack that now. I, you know, get it every night.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. I think just needing an outlet is important.
Okay, so you go to college and you are waiting tables, and this is your group of friends. You have this class clown background. So where does performing comedy start to factor in?
Yeah, so I mean, that was, I didn't do any comedy or anything back then, but I've always loved comedy. I always
Well, you wanted to watch Austin Powers at 8, so yeah.
Exactly. And my grandfather, like I was obsessed with Mitch Hedberg in high school, and my grandfather loved him too, and so we would always
Wow.
talk about our favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes, and that was so fun. Like, I love that I have those memories
That
of
is
him.
cool. Yeah.
But to be quite honest with you, I was so lost, like, in my early 20s as far as who, I mean, it sounds so, whatever, but I truly just didn't know who I was, what I wanted to be. I'd always been, you have to make good grades, you have to get a good job, you have to do this. And then I was like, this isn't enough. Like, this is boring to me. I'm just, itching for creativity. And, I danced for my whole life. And so the performance art aspect has always kind of been there. And yeah, so I mean, the comedy didn't start, 4 or 5 years after college. So, did I answer your question?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
So it's like,
So what was the spark? What actually got you to a performing of comedy?
yeah, I think, it was just it was during COVID. So it was like,
Crazy time.
yeah, well, I was like, I'm not going to have kids. I don't feel energized about anything, but I've always loved comedy.
Yeah.
And I made a couple of friends like in the comedy scene here. And my old roommate actually she's a manager at CAP now, but she, so I was always kind of around the comedy scene, and I was like, you know what? I can just do this. Anyone can do this.
Yeah.
And, so I started writing jokes, and then actually the night I was supposed to do my first open mic, I actually like almost died. Like, I had an emergency surgery, and
Oh my God,
so
Kat.
then I was like, I'm definitely doing it now. Like,
Wow.
there's, so I think it was just a real like kind of crisis of boredom and what am I gonna do with my life,
Yeah. Okay, so I picked up on you said you started writing jokes, but you didn't have, this is my goal, I'm going to perform on this night, I'm signing up for this open mic. You just started writing.
Yeah, I was writing for a while, and I wasn't sure. I mean, jokes is a very generous term, It's like when you're writing, you don't know until you get up there.
Yeah.
But I wrote for a few months before I did a mic, and
And what was that like for you to write jokes? Because you've had this life following a path and rebelling, and then you're working in the service industry, and you're just, from my viewpoint, you don't have a creative outlet.
Yeah.
So how is that feeling to be writing jokes? Are you getting the energy from actually getting a creative part of you on paper?
Oh, yeah. And especially when I first started writing, I've always been I've always like journaled, and I've always written stuff, but it's never with any goal in mind. So, it was extremely cathartic. Like, I wrote, especially when after the surgery I was sitting at home for 2 weeks. So I would just sit for hours a day, and I don't think I've used any. I think maybe I've one joke from all that, but
It got the process started.
Yeah, I think writing anything is important.
Yeah.
To, could spark something. It's, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good outlet, I think.
If you were to look back at that joke book, would you say you were trying to do a Mitch Hedberg thing because that's, those are those fond memories that you have? Or do you feel like you were truly creative in the way that Kat uniquely can be?
Yeah, I think I was I don't think I was trying to be like anyone necessarily. I think I was just kind of writing stuff about my life. I knew I wanted to talk about my life. I knew I didn't really want to be like an observational kind of comic or whatever. So I think, I still feel like I'm really looking for my true voice in comedy, because I think I'm a lot weirder and sillier than I portray myself to be on stage. So, but there's this fear aspect of, you can write jokes and perform them, and if you're bombing, like talking like this, it's different than bombing when you're like,
right.
like it's, so yeah, I'm scared. I think that's, it's just scary, but
Yeah. What was your first open mic?
My first open mic was at the Creek in the Cave on a Thursday. And yeah, it was really, I mean, I think I got like one laugh and I was like, oh, this is it, dude. This is.
Like you loved it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. I mean, just petrified. There's nothing, I mean,
yeah.
you know, it's still scary. Like I think my confidence kind of ebbs and flows. But there's nothing like that first time
Yeah.
getting up there.
What was when you got off the stage? Did you like sign up for something the next night? Was it like an addictive high like that?
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I think that night I was like, okay, I think one's enough for tonight. I'm gonna go celebrate or whatever. But yeah, then I started doing it every night and still pretty much do it every night. Yeah.
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 You and I crossed paths. It would have been, well, that showcase, which sadly only ran for a year.
Oh, it's not going anymore. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
sucks.
venue cut back its programming, and then I moved, and it became a whole thing, and I haven't shopped for a new venue. I'd love to bring it back one day, but I don't know.
It's always fun.
Yeah. That showcase started April of 2020. So and I remember somebody referred you to me.
Yeah.
And said, "Oh, she's a newer mic, but she's she's good." And so was that about the time where you're like just brand spanking new?
Yeah, I was pretty new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved your jokes from the get-go.
Really?
Like they were so
That's so
dark
nice.
and just like, you could kind of see you were wearing your newness. So I'm like, oh, she's adorable, but these jokes are like brutally dark. And
God, I cringe so hard thinking about,
How much has your joke writing evolved from, what I would have seen back then?
Oh, I don't know. I almost feel like I'm getting worse
Oh.
somehow. It's like, I want, I don't know. I mean, when you're like just brand new, it's like any amount of laughs is a win, right? And then you start getting into it and you're like, okay, well, that gets a laugh, but that's not really what I want to talk about. That's not really the comic I want to be.
Yeah.
And so I just really want to be more silly, because I'm silly. So I want to really dive into that. But I think also, like, I kind of restricted myself from talking about certain things because I was like, I don't want to be hacky or whatever. So I can't talk about, sex or mental health or weed or any of these things where it's like everyone has a different take on it. Your story is not going to be the same as someone else's. So I think just kind of, I think I'm a little more myself, trying to be a little more myself.
Yeah.
And I think writing longer form jokes, more like kind of, I don't know. I think I was trying to write one-liners kind of, and now I just kind of write.
So I probably wouldn't see any of those jokes that I would have seen early.
I think I maybe have one or two that I still use.
Yeah.
But,
It's kind of like watching, is it the chrysalis? You have the butterfly that's in its cocoon. And those first couple of years are so brutal because you want to please everybody and you think this is how you do it by doing adopting this formula. And then you kind of gain a little bit of confidence and then you realize, oh, but I want to be silly.
Yeah.
And I want to tell longer stories. And then it's kind of like this blossoming that takes a couple of years before you can. I mean, some people longer, some people shorter, but yeah.
I really want to get more into storytelling. I think that's kind of my next avenue. But I think I can work some of the jokes I have into stories. But I think that's the hard part about it is it's just you're just never going to be satisfied. I don't think there's ever a point where you're satisfied. You know, it doesn't matter. And then once you have like a really, really good set, like, you know, FPIA or whatever, it's like nothing compares to that.
Yeah,
after. So it almost feels like you're bombing at everything.
Yeah.
You know, until when you know what it's like to do really well, everything else just doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a spot. You know.
Yeah, and for 2 years in comedy, you made it to the semifinals.
Yeah,
At the
I was
contest.
pretty, lucky, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you were judged.
Yeah.
And as qualified to advance to the semifinals
Well,
over a pool of your competitors and peers.
that's true. I don't know. It was it's my spot in the lineup helped, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, you're one of those. You like to dismiss your accomplishments. I get it.
I feel, yeah.
Did you, since you started comedy during COVID, you probably you said you had friends that are in the comedy world, so they might have given you some history. Did you know what a big deal it was? What a big deal it was that CAP was back and that the FPIA was back?
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to go up to Cap City a lot. And I would watch, I go see shows, watch the open mic sometimes. And, you know, I had a friend working at the bar, so I just sit up there, drink, and watch the mics. And, yeah, I kind of miss I don't know, the old one was so, like, kind of dingy and historic,
like
you
that.
know? Yeah. This one's, I mean, of course, it's really nice. And
Yeah.
it's really, really fucking cool to be performing on that stage. I mean,
Yeah.
so cool. But, you know, there's so much history in the other one. But,
Yeah.
No, it's so cool. So exciting that it's back. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that I was exchanging messages with you, reminding you, have fun. That's the most important thing. That's how you survive these things.
Yeah. It's hard to remember. It really is.
Yeah. Especially when you're new and you're competing with, you know, not just your like experienced peers, but, you know, people that have been doing it for years that, you know, are amazing. And it's easy to get into your head about a competition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was also, I mean, it's also like you see people that you admire so much as a comic, and you're like, why did I get through? You know, like there's clearly so much better than me, but, you know, it's, I was proud, happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're on a stage every night.
Try to be,
basically. Yeah. Are you one of the diligent types that you write down like every show that you do, every mic that you do, or you just kind of, you know, that you've got your goal of going at least once a night? And
yeah, so I have I record all my sets, so I have all the voice recordings. I only like I do keep a running list of the shows that I do.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, doesn't matter, but it's I don't know, nice to visualize like what, you know, I don't know, that the shows have gotten better, you know, like starting out, you know, so exciting to do any show, and then it's like kind of looking back, I had like 3 shows last August, and last month I had, you know, 15 or whatever it is. So it is nice to keep track in that way. And I also think maybe it's just it's easy for me to look at if I just have a list. And I am pretty freaky about that. Yeah.
you started a show with Holly.
Yeah.
I talked to Holly, I guess, a couple of months ago.
Holly's the best.
Yeah, and I was kind of bummed to hear because I saw the show Truth or Dare come up, and she had mentioned that it hasn't come back yet, but there's, you know, wishful thinking for it to make a comeback.
Yeah, we had so much fun doing that. Yeah, it was just kind of like we couldn't get the scheduling right, where it's like I think it was perfect show for like late night, like on a weekend.
Yeah.
And you know, and then we tried to do it as like a backyard show, and it's really, really hard to promote for that. So I think, I mean, we would like to do it and bring it back. It's really fun, and I think the comics had fun. And it was a little different than just, you know, a regular showcase. So, yeah, I hope we can bring it back sometime.
Yeah.
it's pretty fun.
Was that your first show to produce?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
it
you
once.
like that?
Did one show.
Yeah, one show.
Yeah. I liked aspects of it. I really, I think hosting is, a really good way to get comfortable on stage. Because, as the host, you're up on stage for, brief points during the show. And it's a different skill than just doing your set. And it was really fun to plan, the dares and like all that stuff. And being able to put up your friends that you think are funny. And but, like, I don't like barking. That's not fun to me. I don't like that. I'm not a super outgoing person, so it's hard for me to be like, hey, come see comedy. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really fun. I had a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see yourself doing more of that or coming up with your own show?
Yeah, I would love to. I think it's kind of it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's one of those things of like, I'm just like, would I rather focus on my material and getting better or put my energy into producing a show? But it's like, you can do both. Yeah. And at least, if you're producing your own show, you get guaranteed time every month. So there is a positive aspect in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I haven't, I have a couple, I have something I'm planning kind of, but it's not, nothing's set in stone yet. Yeah. And it's hard to find a venue. Like, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And if you're, if you want to focus on the stand-up part, focus on that. Especially if you're getting plenty of stage time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people, no, I'm not gonna. Yeah. I'm getting enough stage time. I feel good about that, and maybe I'll go host a show with someone sometime.
That's fine. We'll move on. I know how to read nonverbal cues. With that, Kat, let's take an intermission with our little card game here. Where should we begin? These are open-ended questions.
Ooh, I'm going to move. And shuffling them.
You'll pick one, and I will read the question.
Uh-oh.
This is going to be a good one. A conversation I need to have with my parents.
Okay, so I'm supposed to say a conversation I need to have with my parents. Oh, God. Well, I just need to tell them how much I love them.
Oh.
That's
Do they think that you hate them right now?
No. I'm just like, I don't think there's a conversation I could talk about on here that I'm like, hey, by the way, because I thought my parents didn't listen to anything, and then my mom did listen to something.
Oh, did she?
I said on a podcast that.
Oops.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly flattering. So, what's this one?
Well, that's the one you read to me, and I have to, in theory, answer it. But maybe I'll answer it the same way that you answered yours.
Well, something. No, could be a good one.
Okay.
Something about my culture I wish other people understood.
My culture? Oh my gosh. Huh. That's so hard to answer because I have such a weird culture.
Are you Hispanic?
Yes, I'm half Hispanic, but my mom is Belgian. So I have this Western European Mexican culture, and I'm just kind of floating out here in the universe between, like, we didn't necessarily celebrate a lot of Mexican cultural events. Like, honestly, I didn't even know about Dias de los Muertos until I was in college.
Oh, wow.
So, we weren't that prideful, I don't know. And then my mom with Belgium, it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know what kind of events. I mean, for her, it was like, okay, well, we survived World War II. That's, you know, I don't care about anything else. I survived. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I am proud that I've got the Hispanic side of me and, you know, Western European side of me.
It's a very interesting combo.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a mutt, I guess. You know, maybe some people don't understand that I'm a mutt, but I relate to a lot of different things. And I think that's probably why I like doing this podcast, because every conversation I have, I'm like, oh, I relate to that. Even though we might come from completely different backgrounds and experiences, like, oh, I relate to that.
Yeah.
Because I've had such a weird,
Yeah.
you know, experience.
Did you ever spend time like in either of those places?
Well, I was actually born in Belgium.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
my first
that's
language
cool.
is French, which I did some digging, and you have some French
Ouais.
in your...
Ouais.
Oh, that's a very...
Je parle un petit. Wait. Un petit peu de français.
Oui, c'est bien.
No, cut that out. That's not... sounded bad.
Yeah, so
Wow.
when I was still living at home, my mom would send me to my grandmother's in Belgium for the summers.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I was the American rock star kid.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
this tiny little village that my grandmother lived in. It's like, oh, are you the American?
Oh, that's so cool. Oh. A village in Belgium.
Yeah.
That's just poetic. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
Very cool.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. Well, there's more stuff for us to talk about.
Sure.
About Kat.
Yeah.
You are part of a rock star couple.
Oh, sure.
I don't know that many people know this, because it's not like either of you are like super splashy about it, but you do have a podcast together.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not a down low relationship. It's very out
It's not
there.
a secret.
How is it? I obviously don't want to know, like, what's it like to date a comic, but
Yeah.
being a comic and then also having a significant other that's a comic, like, did you have any intention of that?
No.
And is it weird sometimes, or is it cool sometimes? Because you can talk about, you know, you can dish about an experience that you had, you know, at a similar show or whatever. Like, you can understand each other's experiences better. But also, you're in each other's faces all the time because you're both comics.
Yeah, so no, I did not plan on that. I had sworn off dating. I'd sworn off dating men. I was like, I'm only dating women and whatever. But you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
There's really no like weirdness. 'Cause it's also like we're both pretty busy, so we're not like always together.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of nights like I unfortunately had to miss his set when he won the Austin comedy competition because I had my own show that I was doing. So it's like, you know, but it is really cool to be able to talk about stuff and run things by another person that truly, you know, cares about you.
Yeah.
And also understands the industry. Because I think that is a hard part of it, is like of dating when you are a comic. And like, I know a lot of my friends, you know, struggle with this, who are like on dating sites and whatever. It's like, it's just hard to explain the lifestyle to people who don't get it, you know. And I don't mean to be like, I'm not trying to sound, you know, like it's some secret, like, you know, whatever. But it's just, it's just like a tough lifestyle. It's very like tiring and very
late nights,
draining.
You can't go on dates because
late
evenings are exactly the prime time for shows. And
and then it's like, you know, if you need to, like around the holidays and stuff, like miss whatever, it's there's just like, it's kind of your number one priority. So like trying to maintain a relationship seems difficult. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't really done it. I mean, I hadn't had a significant other in a very long time before that. So, yeah. No, it's really fun. It's really cool.
Yeah, I could have never asked him this
I
question.
know. I know. He's a little shy little bean.
He is.
Yeah.
So we saw you at Good Pollution,
Oh yeah.
and I had dragged my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. Did he have fun?
He hates everything I love.
Yeah.
So he laughed, I think, at one thing the entire night. And unfortunately, my son easily gets under the influence of my boyfriend. So my son decided he wasn't going to laugh at anything either. So he was one of those. I, of course, was giggling and having the best time because I loved everything I saw.
That was one of the best, most fun shows I've been to in,
so good.
in ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my son had never seen Casey, and I had raved about Casey and told him how he won the competition and how, like, really insightful. And by the way, this isn't just, I'm trying to suck up to Kat, but I thought his interview was so, like, philosophical and insightful that, you know, I kind of, every once in a while I deem an episode a masterclass episode, and I thought his was, because he talked about, you know, the role of sobriety and how hard he works for his crazy antics style of comedy. And when we saw you in the lobby, my son was like, man, he's super quiet. I'm like, yeah, I know, just wait. And then he sees him, and I'm like, he was like, oh my God, he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was something I found very intriguing about him is he was this wacky, crazy guy on stage, and then just, you know, regular kind of shy dude in real life.
Yeah.
And it's I like that though, like when people can be really expressive on stage in a way that they wouldn't necessarily be in real life, but it's a character. It's a you know, it's a persona, and I think that's it's just a cool way to do it.
And how has it been, your podcast that you do together? You've been doing it a couple of months now?
Yeah, I think we have like 9 episodes out, maybe.
Yeah. And how have you settled into, like, being recorded and balancing that? Well, we're 2 comics who are doing this podcast together versus, well, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and we're having this conversation, and there happens to be a camera recording us.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a very, like, you know, we're best friends. So it's not, there's not a whole lot of, like, struggling to not be, like, boyfriend, girlfriend. You know, I think we both care about comedy so much that it's, you know, it's work, essentially. So that's, you know, as silly as it is, it's, you know, we try to, but I mean, you know, I think we're still honest. We're still who we are as a couple and as people. But, it's, I think I think with any podcast though, getting your rhythm and your dynamic down is kind of tough at first. So I think the first couple episodes were a little rocky, but I think we're in a rhythm now and, kind of riff on each other, and then we have guests now, which is really fun. We can bring our friends in, and we do a lot of like improv stuff, which I'm not super well versed in. So it's a nice challenge for me that helps me to be creative outside of just performing and writing jokes. It's kind of just, there's really no pressure. I mean, it's, you know, when you're doing an hour or 45 minutes of something, it's like, well, it's not all going to be gold. So, you know, just kind of say whatever you think and whatever comes to mind. And sometimes it's bad. And sometimes it's really funny. So, you know, it's just kind of the fun of it.
Yeah.
The beauty of it.
You started comedy in the middle of COVID when the old guard comics kind of all were shuttered at home. Yeah. And you were part of the you know, big boom of comedy that started. have you started to make headway, make friends, like start to learn more about the comics and the comedy scene that we had before COVID and this mad influx of comics that we had?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in a little bit of an interesting position because I have lived here so long and I've been interested in comedy and seen comedy for so long.
Keep forgetting you've had friends before.
Yeah, so I had
in the comedy
friends,
scene, so
that were in the comedy scene. So I think, I mean, I definitely have friends that are in the old scene, whatever. Definitely some people that aren't my friends, but I think that's pretty typical of any scene. But yeah, I mean, I definitely understand the it's just a whole new scene. So I think I'm kind of empathetic to both sides of it. But it seems like everyone's starting to mesh pretty well. So it's not,
it's mellowed out, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't seem, and I don't think anyone's, I don't know. I just want to do comedy. Yeah. Like that's, it's not, I don't really care about whose show it is I'm doing or whatever. Like obviously it's fun to hang out with your friends and you want to have friends, but at the end of the day, like I just want to make people laugh. I just want to work on my craft and just have fun.
Do you have a favorite open mic that you like to do? And I'm asking that because depending on the venue that you're performing on, do you change how you put together a set?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think there's certain things that I consider that are just lower pressure, like certain mics where it's like Buzzmill. I did Buzzmill last night. I mean, it's probably one of the best mics in town, the Tuesday Buzzmill mic. Yeah. Shout out to Aaron and Mimi. Great mic. But yeah, I mean, there were a ton of people there last night, but it's still like, it's a mic. So I'm still going to work on new material.
Yeah.
But there is, always that kind of thing where you're like, I could do jokes that I know work and I could do really well, or I could bomb. You kind of have to make that choice, but I'm always trying to work on new material. I mean, obviously it shows it's different. Like I will usually squeeze in, I'll make a shit sandwich or whatever. Squeeze in some new stuff in the middle and then try open and close strong, So I still am doing my job and whatever, but it's also hard to know sometimes at mics if things are working. Because if you're doing a late Creek mic on a Tuesday at 10:30 p.m., there's no way to tell if what you said is funny or not. There's just comics in there. So, but I think Buzzmill is a great one. I usually do Kick Butt, which for some reason that room really makes me nervous. I do not know what it is.
That's weird.
It is weird. Because I've been, doing that mic for a while now, and it's so strange. But that's why I keep doing it, because I'm like, it makes me nervous, so I should keep doing it. And then Velveeta room, that mic used to really scare me, because it, you can't see shit. Right. You can't see anything. Like usually you can see, a few rows back, but you can't see anything. Right. So just like if you're not getting laughs, it just feels like you're just alone up there talking to yourself. So yeah, but
I guess to follow up on what I was asking, because you are
sorry,
no, it's fine. Because it's good to point out the different mics, and me having seen all of these different rooms, it's kind of like, I get it. I know how they're all so different.
Yeah.
When you're doing a show, so this isn't an open mic. If you're doing a show, especially since you weren't performing before COVID, and things got so convoluted, where like everything was the Creek and Vulcan, and so it was very aggressive type of comedy. And this is my generalization, so
Yeah.
don't come at me. And then when things started coming back and you had more of the classic rooms were back open, Cap, the Valve, the small theaters, like, because you're so new, have you figured out, like, well, I can do this at a show at Fallout, but I probably wouldn't want to do the same set at the Creek, because it's just, figuring out that formula.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, it depends more on, like if it's like a sold out show, like when I did Sure Thing at Fallout, I was like, I'm not going to try new material at a sold out show. But if, I'm doing a show there where there's, I wouldn't say I really change my comedy based on where I'm performing. I would say I change what material I might do based on the number of people that are there. Because, like, if someone's asking you to do a show and it's sold out, you do have a bit of a duty to not completely fuck it up. So,
right.
but I just do my stuff and like what I think is funny, and I don't particularly like shock humor and stuff like that. Like, I don't really talk about that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really, I don't know. I think I want to, be palatable. I mean, I don't want to be a people pleaser, but I don't like offending people. Like, that's not really what I'm out to do. I just want to make people laugh, and no matter who it is,
Yeah. So you've by extension, your life is a little bit easier because you're not trying to clean up when you have to clean up for a particular room or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a clean comic, but I'm not super dirty, and I'm not offensive, but that's more just, I mean, it's just who I am and the comic that I want to be, and I just truly want to be silly. I'm not trying to prove any points. I'm not trying to comment on the state of our country and our world, I don't think I'm qualified to do that. So, but it's also nice, like, sorry if I'm rambling here.
It's fine. This is a rambling podcast.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk a little bit more about, like, for instance, I recently wrote a joke about having OCD, and like that's something I've struggled with for a long time. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what it actually is. And so I wrote a joke about it, and I've had, I think, like 2 people come up to me and say, like, I love the OCD joke. Like, I related to that so much. Like, I like how you kind of, the way you described it was so relatable and so true. Because I think it's something that's really misunderstood. So, if I can impact people in that way, where it's like writing about something that is funny, but it's also, something people can relate to and maybe make them feel less crazy,
Yeah. Well, this is our New Year's episode, and you have said a couple of times now that you want to just be silly.
Yeah.
So in your silliest form, like, give me an example of how silly you would want to be on stage. And if there are people that, like, if you dropped a name of a comic,
I see.
That, this is like the game that you're trying to play.
Yeah. It's hard to kind of, I try not to actually watch that much comedy because I don't want to be like anybody.
Yeah. I asked a very dangerous question by saying, who do you want to be like? Basically.
Yeah. I don't want to be like anybody.
Yeah.
I think Beth Stelling is one of my favorite comics. I love her. And, but I think just, make funny noises and I do funny stuff with my face sometimes. And so just trying to lean into that more. Like, I don't know. Well, whatever. Yeah. Just trying to not feel so much pressure to impress people.
Yeah.
And just kind of be silly. Yeah. Like I was singing kind of a, almost like a Nickelback-esque version of, what's that? Some Christmas song earlier. But anyway, just silly shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever comes to my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And are you going to practice that over the next year?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
If I can get, I get scared. You know?
Uh-huh. But this is the new year, so
it's true. That should
time
be
machine. This is the new year, and
that should be my goal. That is my goal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Valerie. That's my 2023 resolution. To be silly.
So anybody that runs into you needs to say, "Don't forget.
Yeah.
Be silly."
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. I just want to focus on having more fun and caring less about doing well. you know.
Yeah, it all come together.
Yeah,
When you're
it'll
doing what
shake
you
out.
want, what you know, the silliness that you want to enjoy, it'll translate.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing worse than watching a comic try to be somebody else. Oh,
I know. That just hurts.
the audience can
Oh.
see it from a mile away,
Yeah.
and it's just cringy.
I know. And like, yeah, I wish I had more energy. Like I see certain people, I'm like, oh, I wish I had energy like that. But I'm
Yeah.
like, if I went on stage and I was like, what's up, Cap City? How's it going? People would be like, this isn't, we don't believe you.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't believe you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
gotta be relatively authentic, you know?
Well, you just put your hand there, and I'm going to just encourage
Did
you
I?
because since you were talking about making silly noises, that's my little sound machine. If you want to
Oh.
play and be silly, practice your
Is
silliness.
this a fart? Yeah. There's a, okay. What is this, a clapping? Just
I
identifying
don't know.
the
Yeah, I don't know half of.
money. Cha-ching. Cool. I like that one.
There you go. Practicing your silly.
Yeah.
Well, let's start. We're going to start wrapping up, but I'm going to ask you two questions before my closing. And that is, what is your favorite thing about being a performer?
Oh, favorite thing about being a performer. Man, it's a tough question. I think how scary it is. Yeah, it makes me feel so alive.
Huh.
You know, in a way like I've never felt before.
Yeah.
And yeah, and in that way it's kind of like a drug, you know. It's
Yeah.
really scary. It's really scary. But then if you're able to, once you're able to get over that and make people laugh, it's like, it's indescribable, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I want to congratulate you if you're still doing it, because I know on High Noon you were talking about being sober for
Oh, yeah.
that. I don't know when that episode went out, but it
Yeah,
was
almost
10
a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
making that commitment. And
Yeah, I
I'm a
had
big
to do
fan
it.
of the sober comics
Yeah, well,
lifestyle. As a parent and a maternal
oh
type.
sure. Yeah, I mean it's just I think before comedy there just wasn't anything I loved more than getting fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
And once you kind of have something that you're like, I really don't want to mess this up. I really take this seriously and I really care about it more than anything else I've cared about in my
Yeah.
life. You'll do anything to, you know,
Yeah.
keep your shit straight.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Keep it up.
Thanks.
Keep it up.
Thank you. I will.
All right. On the flip side, what is the thing that you hate the most about being a performer?
Maybe also how scary it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's, I think Well, I think there is something that is challenging, which is not having to tell jokes that you're tired of telling because you have to fill time.
Yeah.
So, but and trying to keep it like, it's just, I think last week I did a show where I was like, I don't care who's watching. I don't care how bad I do. I cannot do these jokes anymore.
Oh, wow.
And I did mostly new stuff in the middle, and it's like, yeah, sometimes I think you just like, you hate doing certain jokes where it's just like, I don't write like this anymore, or you're like, I know the crowd likes this, but I'm tired of telling it, And I think that is a hard part about it, but it's also there's a reason that it's a craft and it's something you have to work on. So you can't just have new jokes every time you go up on stage,
Right.
so yeah,
that's tough. I actually talked to Josh Kabaza, and he had that same experience, but whereas you're feeling it at 2 years in, he felt it about 10 years in, where he realized he couldn't do any of his old jokes anymore. He had to start fresh.
Yeah.
Because he just felt like he wasn't the same person
Oh yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
And
it's
that's what you need to do, is whatever you do, be authentic.
Yeah, the audience can really feel it. And I notice there's a real difference. Sometimes even stuff I do that isn't done, that doesn't really have a punchline.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll go better than my jokes I've been telling for a year or for 6 months, because the audience can tell I'm excited about it. And there's kind of a different, like, the freshness with it that you don't have with the older jokes, but you still have to put on a performance,
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I lied. There was going to be 2 more questions.
Okay. I love questions
because this
about
is-
myself. So fun.
This is my 2023, inaugural episode. I want you to get philosophical with me.
Sure.
What do you see for yourself? What do you hope for yourself in 2023?
Thought you were going to say in 20 years.
You can answer that if that's easier. Sure.
20 years? I don't want to be freaking rich. 2023. Oh. I think I want to stop caring so much. I want to just live my life without anxiety.
Yeah. Sure.
It's a pretty big goal. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I think I want to kind of work on being a better friend. Just really cherishing the friends that I have, and yeah, just being good to the people I love,
Yeah.
and yeah, hopefully less anxiety. Start taking medication again, so hopefully by 2023 it'll have leveled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good goals.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't thought about this a lot. I also want to write a sketch. I really want to write a
Ooh.
sketch. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you thought about doing improv? Have you thought about doing sketch?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've thought about it a lot. And the improv thing is hard because I'm scared to commit to a night of the week where I can't do shows or do mics.
Yeah.
But I think from what I've heard, it's really, really helpful because it kind of changes your brain, changes the way your brain works. And so you're able to think of those punchlines and have those light bulb moments in the moment instead of 3 hours later or whatever.
And can I tell you something else?
What's that?
If you really want to be silly, and improv.
I know it. Yeah, I should do
and
it.
Sketch.
All right, improv class too. Put it on the list. Improv too. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Improv's
people will respect that. Okay, this night I can't do this because I'm investing in myself to be better down the road. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can be pretty darn silly with improv classes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll give you comfort to do it.
It's true. And it's so much less pressure, I would think, than
Yeah.
just writing.
That I don't know, because some brains, they get freaked out by the notion of improv. Like, they don't want to be the one that, causes,
I guess that's
thing
true,
to-
yeah. To go off the rails.
yeah.
That's a good point.
But, I'm thinking going on that silly angle.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, and writing a sketch would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I've acted or whatever in some sketches. I don't know what you call it. Acting, I guess. In some sketches that my friends have written. And It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. I like
Yeah.
it. It's a totally different area of performance and
Yeah.
art. And
It's like stretching a muscle. Every time you stretch a muscle in a different way, like I'm very convinced that it helps you be stronger, whatever thing it is that you prefer.
oh, I'm sure.
So,
Yeah.
the performers who are good at all, like you look at a Brett Vervoort, who's a great improviser, great stand-up. I can't remember the last time she did a sketch, but, I know she has done sketch. It's like, it all helps to
Yeah.
make her a strong performer. So
Yeah, absolutely.
highly recommended if that's something that you want to
Yeah.
do. So,
Yeah.
okay, so
Improv.
2023.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yay.
I'll do it.
Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you?
No.
No.
No. That felt pretty. Yeah, I think we hit all the high notes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
Yeah. So your final question.
Oh, more. Okay.
Yes, one more. One word to describe your future.
Bright. I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope it's bright.
Yeah.
Hope it's a good one.
Yeah. It'll be silly, right?
Silly.
It'll be silly.
Yeah.
It'll be silly bright.
Hopefully not dramatic.
No. Okay. Well, thank you. That's a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents Kat Swantner. Tell us where we can find you and promote any projects that you have to promote.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Satans_feet pics. You can find me there. I host podcasts with Casey Rocket called the Grimby Half Hour Power Hour. It's on his YouTube channel. And yeah, I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we hope you've enjoyed learning about how Kat got to be the comedic genius that you are today just as much as I have.
please.
Stop. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Kat Swantner. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you, Valerie. That was so fun.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.